first, okay? I feel like I'll get myself in trouble. Let's start with the guys. Submitting to your wife, like, you know, we're supposed to be submitting to our wives submit to their husbands, and so on and so forth, right? But we're the leaders in that, I believe, because Christ, you know, we're the groom, you know, the representative of that, and we want to make sure that we're leading in serving, leading in submitting, leading in the things that don't look or feel good, and that really just comes from humility. What does that look like to you guys in your marriage of submission or humility?
I would say that it's something that I'm constantly working on.
Yeah.
It's like Pastor had this story that the first years Pastor came and Pastor, they were, you know, bumping heads.
Yes.
Kind of in a way, not, you know, bumping heads bad, but in that area of submission, I think I was really laid back at the beginning of marriage.
Sure.
And I was like, it is what it is. I'm like that. And soon as I find out, that's going to hurt my family if I don't change. Because maybe, just to say, Dodi comes from a divorced family, and I come from not a perfect marriage.
Sure.
Like, I saw a lot. My family has been restored. You know, it's been a lot. But all that is in the back of your head.
Yeah.
Like, how I'm going to be submitting, and I don't know what's going to be the end result.
Yeah.
So the more that I got, like what Kim said on the identity, the more that I got close to God, the most I was really bringing to me as a person my attention. If you don't submit, this is not going to work.
Yeah.
If you don't change what you want for what she wants, and let God change your heart, it's not gonna change.
I think for a lot of us guys, it's listening as well. You know, I try to listen to Kim, and I value her
Preach on
opinion.
that one. Preach on that one, please, because that's
Really good
that's like that, like, and that comes in like the love, like how you show love. Dodi, if I listen, bro, I show the most love. But sometimes I'm listening, but I'm not paying attention.
Sure.
And that was my biggest mistake.
Yeah.
I was listening. I always know I'm paying attention. Yeah, but in back in my head, I'm doing 20 things and figuring it out. But I think that's for me the hardest area of submission. Just focus on nothing and just focus on what she's trying to say and where she's trying to take us as a family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, ladies, you hear from the Lord. You know, and you hear very clearly. Sometimes the Holy Spirit and you guys are like the same people sometimes. And I have to make sure that, like, I'm listening to Kim, because sometimes I'm a doer, I'm a goer. But if Kim is, apprehensive about something, or it's like, she's got to check about this, it's just something doesn't feel right, doesn't have that peace about it, I may want to go for it. But if she's not really feeling it, it takes humility just to pump your brakes and say, you know what? No, or not yet, or let's seek God about this a little bit more, because I trust her, what she's going to say. And that's one way that I'm like submitting to her in that. Ladies, is it tough to submit to husbands?
I think
because that seems like a bad word these days, is submission, because everybody's independent, INDE, whatever, however you spell it, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's really, female, woman power, all of that.
Yes.
But
I think whenever you know your role in the house and your role as a wife, you understand what submission is.
That's good.
So I think it's like he said, we are a team. It's not a competition. So whenever I know that I have to listen to him because he's directing our house in the right direction, I need to be humble and be listen and follow. Because I need to know my role. I would say that.
One thing good you said, we're a team. It's not a competition. That's huge. And then knowing your role. I think the tough thing about that is that many people don't know their roles. Just because you're married does not mean you know your role. Most people aren't taught how to be a wife, how to be a husband.
In a marriage, the role is always changing, bro.
Yeah.
Some people wants to have this role and that's it.
Exactly.
And that's when you're gonna end it up the marriage because I see it as a team basketball court.
It's moving in seasons. One season I have this role, other season I have other roles that we can change.
That's good.
And the more you feel good changing roles, the more strongest marriage I think we will have. Because then you're a team. Then this opportunity, this problem, however you want to call it, great or bad, you guys know who should lead, who should follow, who should play one-on-one defense, whatever. You know, I'm like
triangle offense.
You take the wheel, I follow, or let me take a little bit of this one. You know, but
absolutely.
When there is like for submission, when there is genuine heart that our family is the first and Jesus is the center of our family. Yeah. There's no reason why not submission should be the key for a great marriage.
Absolutely. That's good.
I think that.
That's good. Really quick. Nikki, do you want to comment on that? She's like, no, I'm good. Awesome. Real quick, what are your love languages? Let's start with Mark. Real quick, top 2 love languages.
What is mine again? No, I think mine's acts of service.
Acts of service. Yeah. Awesome. Nikki? Words? Okay. Kim?
Wait, you wanted 2?
You can do 2.
It's words and then time.
Words and time. Okay.
Gifts and time.
Gifts and time. They rotate, by the way. Just let y'all know all the time. Mine is words and touch. Yes. Mm-hmm.
I would say quality time and words.
Oh man, everybody leave me here hanging. Touching. Love.
The touching.
If you want it, however you want to call it out there.
Loving.
I'm married, so yeah.
All of that.
That is the love language, but also quality time, I think.
Yeah. What's the importance of speaking in each other's love languages? Why is that important? Just to not just talking how you feel loved, but how your partner, your spouse feels loved.
I think it's really important, you know, and it's something I'm continuing to work on. You know, it doesn't come naturally, you know, so with hers being words, you know, think about for what I'm doing currently in this season, all I'm doing is producing words.
Wow.
Do you see what I'm saying? So, like, when I come home, I got no words. to everybody, you know, I'm producing words. I'm preaching a word on Wednesdays. Then I'm working with communications, and all I'm doing is producing those words into my profession. But I'm coming home, and so, like, that's how important it is, you know, to articulate and communicate. And I think communication is a big deal.
Yes.
And something that for good single folk to think about too is to always, you know, how do they communicate? Because if they don't communicate well before they're married, how would they think that getting married is gonna solve that? It's not going to.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's something that you're gonna constantly work on. I think about something when Ellie was saying earlier. I think about something that Pastor taught us. He was talking about a mentor of his and how he said marriage is all about adjusting. And that's kind of, you know, constantly just you making adjustments, tweaking, evaluating. And sometimes I think marriage, Neil, is we look at marriage as an arrival. Mm-hmm. It's not an arrival. Mm-hmm. It's a privilege. It's a covenant before God. But then it's now we're tweaking and we're adjusting and we're learning. So to answer your question, I mean, that's just the thing of it is not easy. It doesn't necessarily come natural.
Right.
But like anything, you have to work on that skill and continue to get better at that skill.
Yes, absolutely. I love it.
Don't keep fighting for it because I raise my hand. Sometimes I say, man, I've been talking a lot. I've been hearing a lot. But it's like, it doesn't end.
Yeah.
That's her love language. I have to don't measure it by how much I've been putting into it.
Sure.
I just have to do it.
Yeah.
No matter what if I want love back, I have to put her love language.
Yes.
So tagging what Mark was saying, it's not just learn only how to speak, it's only learn before you get married how to listen.
That's good.
How do you face problems as a single? How do you face opportunities? How do you face success as a single person?
Wow.
Do you just keep it with you? Do you share it? That's some key stuff that I work on the first years of my marriage. I was like, I just wanted to be a success for my family, but I'm thinking I did it or whatever, you know, it's the I. Mm-hmm. So it's great to never lose focus that you're going to always have to be consistent on working on what she wants as your couple.
Yeah. You're right. It's about deposits and withdrawals. You know, a lot of times if you don't make enough deposits, like in your bank account, you go to withdraw some money or use your debit card, then you have insufficient funds, right? So we have to continue to make deposits into our marriage, deposits into our spouses. And when you do that, when you go to withdraw from it, there's something there and is not left barren and empty and in a deficit. Deposits are great, especially for people that have words. You know what I mean? It's like before you leave out the house, it's good to give that person words, because when you're leaving the house, you're not seeking affirmation. You're operating from a place of affirmation and from affirmation, as opposed to looking for it and looking for applause from somebody or looking to be, complimented or something like that. It's like I already got it at home. You know what I mean? So when I leave out of here, I can leave out confidently and operate in my purpose and in my gift, because I'm operating from a place as opposed to for a place. You know what I mean? So we're going to skip down to dating real quick, okay?
Bring it.
Okay. So we're going to ask you guys some dating questions, and just feel free to jump in here. Who finds who? Does the girl find the guy? Does the guy find the girl? Who actually finds who? Is there a right way and a wrong way to do it? Anybody want to jump in there? Everybody's scared now.
There's no
Come
right.
on now.
There's no
who
right
actually
or wrong.
finds who?
If
Is
you're
it the
looking
guy?
for that person that God gives to you, both should be looking.
Both
should
should be looking.
preparing for it. Because it's God made somebody for you, ideal for you. So you're great by yourself, but I think you will be greater when you find that one. So
let me ask you this. So does the girl just need to wait for the right guy to find them? Or, oh no, Doris, no. Please explain.
I don't know. It's like you have to.
Who found who in this situation here? Who's who in this?
it was kind of like, we know this.
We know each
don't
other from
knew?
forever. So, but I don't
Stop
think.
joking and let's go for it.
I don't think we should wait to someone to save us. It's like we are a whole complete person, and if we are confident of who we are, we can move forward and look for what we want.
And throw the net.
Throw the net. How do you ladies feel about that? Are you good with going after what you want and what you see, or are you more I'm gonna chill and lay back? What's up? Who's gonna jump in there first? Key, when they start, and then Trish.
I think that as a young woman myself, I passively look. I decide and I pray about being where I'm supposed to be. I heard one time, I'm not sure if pastor said it or if my mentor said it or whatever, but it was said that when you get in the places and the spaces that you're supposed to be in, you know what I'm saying, you're not completely shut down to who's around you, what's around you. I know this. It's some, good looking guys. You know what I'm saying? But, you know what I'm saying, when I get in the places and the spaces that I'm supposed to be in, and I'm running my race, and I'm okay, so you're running with me? You're running? Okay, and it kind of links up like that, you know what I'm saying, to where, I'm not, as people say, thirsting for attention or thirsting for a guy to pay attention to me. It's passively looking by being where I'm supposed to be, but praying and knowing that God, I want my husband.
Yeah.
And my husband, I ain't talking about, I want my husband.
Yeah.
And so when I get where I'm supposed to be in line with the Lord, you know what I'm saying? I know everything's not going to be perfect, but if I'm where I'm supposed to be, he's going to be right there too.
That's good. That's good. It's good. Trish, you agree or disagree?
I definitely agree. I think that it's super important to stay in position as a single, stay ready, and stay in purpose. I think that's the biggest thing someone alluded on. As long as you're staying in purpose and the call that God is on your life, and doing the things, serving in ministry, doing everything in excellence, then you will be ready and in position for whoever it is, Is it on? I don't know.
You good?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
I'm sorry.
But yeah.
But who approaches who? Like, if you're running your race, you're both running, you're both tired, you're out of breath at this point. Like, who's gonna look over and say, "Hey"?
I think the guy should be ready always, bro. Sorry. If you don't move, don't expect somebody's gonna move for you.
This is
That's
true.
in the life perspective. if you're waiting, you're gonna keep waiting, bro.
This is true, but some guys, now I'm not that dude, but some guys, I'll make the move, but some guys are apprehensive. Some guys are just more reserved, quiet, laid back, and they're like, I like this girl. I feel like she knows that I like her. I'm not sure if I should make the move. Should the girl just go ahead and say, hey, what's up?
I don't know. I feel like there's just so many ways now, like
so
that
many
you
ways.
can get a message to her. So there's way too many ways. So I think that's kind of like a cop out.
Oh, wow.
Like,
tell it how it is, Nikki.
I mean, personally,
I totally agree with you.
there's like a lot of reserved people. You don't have no
if
friends.
You want it
like,
and you're gonna wait, you don't want it.
yeah, I agree.
Like you're hungry, you're not gonna wait somebody to bring you the food. Sorry. You're gonna step out of the couch, even if you're the low key.
Yeah.
You're gonna low key go and take that plate. You go, bro. Somehow, some way, just go for it.
See, I think big picture, like if you're not if the man is supposed to lead the house when they get married, so like it doesn't make sense to me like God's gonna speak to you and lead, and you're gonna be leading your wife, but your wife is the one that got on the knee and
Sure.
and it doesn't make sense. Like, hey, I didn't sign up for this because I didn't really ask you. Do you see what I'm It's like kind of reversed around. So I think no matter if you are introverted or apprehensive or whatever, like Nikki said, there's so many ways you could do it. And just like, I just think you just need to step out and get bold.
Keep the identity and do it. Low key, but do it.
Yeah, but do it.
I like it. I like he's almost start speaking in Spanish. Pero,
Yeah, I was gonna go there,
Aquí.
bro. And if I'm in
Ahora.
Spanish, bro,
Así, hey,
muévete, papi, zumba.
listen.
That's
I don't know what you
just
said, but
make
it
the
sounded
move,
good.
bro. Don't wait for it.
Listen, I think positioning yourself is key, ladies and guys. You know how Ruth positioned herself in the Bible with Boaz. You know, who was it? Was it her cousin? Who was it now? It was somebody in her life said, "Hey, you need to get dressed. Put on a nice dress. You spruce yourself up. Do your hair. Get some perfume on, and go out into that field." You know what I mean? And then she positioned herself, and she initially positioned herself when she was serving, when she was working, actually. And then later, she positioned herself in the field, and he noticed her and saw that, first of all, you fine, okay? And you got great work ethic, you know what I mean? And things worked out from there, because a lot of times we think that if we sit at home and we looking toe up from the flow up, that our Prince Charming is just going to come out of nowhere, and that's not necessarily always the case, okay? Unless if it's a UPS driver or the Amazon man, it's like, listen, you got to make sure that you position yourself and be your best you. You don't have to be anybody else, but be your best you and make yourself your own attractive, and so somebody can actually notice you. You know, you can do all the spiritual things, which is great. I think it's good to do. But a lot of guys are attracted to the physical as well, and that's generally the initial, hey, I see you, and then you can actually initiate the conversation. But a lot of it, you can't be one-sided on just physical. You got to be on the serving and the spiritual as well, because people will notice you at the altar as well. People will notice you, how you lift your hands. They'll notice you how you worship, how you engage as well. So there's layers to this, okay?
Can I chime in on that?
Go for it.
Because you hinted, I think it's very important for single women to remember and love themselves.
Yes.
And part of loving yourself is to make yourself look good for you. Do your nails for you. Do your hair for you. Take good care of yourself, because that's how you keep your own person even when you do get into a relationship.
Yeah.
And that's part of getting to know yourself and giving yourself God's best for you until that timing of when the person you're supposed to be with comes into your life.
Yeah. And keep yourself together when you're married as well. Some people just fall off and let it all go. It's like, no, just continue to date in your marriage.
That's when you have to bring it up most, bro.
Yeah.
Because that speaks for a lot of things.
Absolutely.
And that's one thing. I keep working on it. Whatever I can do just so she don't lose that eye on me or that excitement to be with me. Because then what I'm going to show my kids. Then what I'm going to show, like, that once you make it, you make it. No. We're lifelong learners.
That's good.
We're always trying to reach our top potential.
Yeah.
We're always trying to be the best, be our best. So
I like that.
don't quit.
That's good.
Keep your game on. Keep using sneakers like that. You know?
I like your sneakers.
I see you.
I have a question here. Is chivalry dead? Ladies, gentlemen, like, do you guys still, like, treat your prospective woman, with honor, open doors, so on and so forth? Ladies, do you still want that? Does it matter? Guys, does it matter to you? Speak to that, Joe.
So I think that chivalry is not dead, but to a lot of people it is. Because I believe that, you should treat everybody with chivalry. Like, I'll always open doors for,
that's good.
grandmas, my mom, whoever it is. And, just, I treat my mom with chivalry. But I know other people who don't do it. And I think that just goes to show of, like, how you are, and your personality maybe, and just, like, how you treat other people shows a lot. So
that's good.
That's good. It's not dead.
Ladies, do we still expect people to, guys to treat you well? Or do you just kind of get any old kind of guy and whatever it is, it is?
I fully expect it, but also I think it's important, and especially in the culture that we live in, for a woman to portray herself like she wants to be treated like that.
Yeah.
You can't expect someone to be chivalrous to you with certain things that you post or what you do. And I'm not trying to shame anybody or anything like that, but I think it's very important that if you want that attention in that way, don't portray yourself in another way. And I think that's something that I want. Okay, so open my door.
That's good. I'm gonna transition here. When you say you want people to treat you the way you want to be treated, and you have to, project that. How important are boundaries in dating? You spoke on purity, things of that nature. How important is it to have boundaries before you start dating, while you're in dating, is to make sure that you can continue to go towards the path that God wants you to go in? You want to speak to that?
Okay.
I'm talking about physical boundaries,
yes.
emotional boundaries,
So,
even spiritual
long
boundaries.
story short, I was that guy at school that was like looking, throwing. You fine? Let's do. Okay, right. I was that. Don't judge me now. I'm totally safe, but I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I said if I'm gonna approach the wife, the mother of my kids that way, I'm not gonna have that one, the right one.
Wow.
I never kissed Doris before she told me yes to like date, boyfriend, girlfriend. And I wanted, bro. I was ready for it.
Yeah.
But I wanted her to show that I was able to wait for that, and I was gonna be able to wait for the next, where we're talking about purity, sex, after, before, whatever. If I didn't show it in the little things, I was not gonna show it in the big things. Wow. We dated for 8 years, right? We dated for 8 years.
Wow.
We used to live at a college. I used to live in the top apartment. Dottie used to live in the same building in the lower level, and we kept it, bro.
That's so good.
We have every room, we have every space, nobody watching anything. Sure. But I wanted to tell her that I didn't know if I was gonna have a little girl. So if I didn't put it for her, what I was expecting that somebody was gonna put for my family.
That's good, man.
So that was always in my head. It was difficult. Woo! The room gets hot. Whatever, we're just in the movies or doing something. Get out, move, leave. I can see you. I need to go.
Sure.
Because if not, you can ruin it.
Yeah.
So I think it's super important to know the boundaries since the beginning.
Yeah.
And if you're not ready mentally for it, prep for it.
Yeah. It's important how to know how guys think. And gals think as well, but a lot of guys, we think differently than a lot of girls, imagine. And, if a guy's out here shooting a shot to everybody, and maybe you're landing, a lot of those, but it's like, well, does that person actually want to marry you, though? Or are they shooting a shot to get what they need to get, and then they get out? You know what I mean? And a lot of times we think that, or ladies may think that if you give him what he's asking for, then that's the way to keep him. But in reality, maybe they're not looking for a partner and a spouse. They're looking for somebody to get with temporarily, but they're looking for somebody else that'll stand up for themselves and have values and have boundaries to actually get married to, because they know if I get married to this person, she gave it up so easily. So what makes me think that she's gonna keep it for while we're married? You know what I mean? She can give it up to anybody. So it's just it's important to know that just because they're shooting a shot doesn't mean you should just give them the layup. You know what I'm saying? Just thinking. Real quick, should dating have a purpose, or do you just date to date? But should dating actually have a purpose to it? Anybody want to go to that? Kimmy, go ahead.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
I think so, definitely. I remember my first date. We were at Caldi, and we had a conversation. I remember your outfit and everything. And you started talking about your family. And immediately when you started talking about your family and what do you want it to do with your life, I was like, he has purpose. Like, he is not just out here trying to live a life. You know what I mean? He's out here trying to prepare for a destiny. And that's what really attracted me to you. So most definitely you should have a purpose.
That's good. So we should be going somewhere. Just dating, just to date. I think when you're dating, you should be fact finding. You should be collecting data as well. And it's okay. This what I do like. This is no, I don't like that so much. Or this is one thing that is I'm attracted to, but not that so much. And you're collecting data, so you can put together your own algorithm. So you can get the person that you really want. You know what I mean, Joe?
Yeah. I was just gonna say it's like, why waste time? That's pretty much it.
He drops the mic.
Agreed. Don't miss it. Yeah, don't waste time. Don't miss any time to use it as a experience it to enrich what you're building on.
Yeah.
Because some people think dating is just to see how she smell, have fun, or just the physical.
Yeah.
How you gonna touch me or grab me by the hand? I'm being gentle. Oh man, we struggle with that word you guys were using. And in Spanish is caballerosidad. Open you the door. All that you guys do. Use that every experience it.
Yeah.
Use that little every experience it just to develop that. Dating to me is the most important.
Do you date somebody with the same values, same faith? Maybe you're involved in ministry and they're not, or maybe you like going to church and they don't, or maybe you serve and do you date someone with the same, or does it really matter? Can they come along and you be the example for them?
I think it's huge. She just said, be nice.
Be nice.
I think it's so important. It's so important. I think, the Bible talks about not being unequally yoked and, having to do premarital counseling, how to do marriage counseling, having to, a lot of times it's just people that made decisions that were just not necessarily about values and aligning up. And I think it's so important. It is very important.
Yeah.
And I will say, Mark, don't surrender because you're in that relationship right now that you don't have the same faith of that. But I will say, really think on if you make the move to a next step, wait. We said don't wait for some stuff, but we said for that one, wait that gets, if you're believing, just wait.
Yeah, and I think to go along that is a lot of times we, and I before Nikki, I remember in relationships where I would overlook things.
Yeah.
But see, whatever you overlook, you'll never overcome.
That's good.
And that's so important.
Say that again, Mark, please.
Whatever you overlook, you'll never overcome. And so I came to the conclusion that, okay, if I need to be able to break through in every season of my life. And so I have to look at this and say, okay, if this is not compatible, and I'm like, yeah, I got 10 checks, but there's 2 or 3 that are not checking. A lot of times fear will get in and say, yeah, but Mark, you're not gonna, and fear will try to get in and try to talk you out, and you'll just settle. And you don't want to settle, because when you compromise, it creates counterfeit in your life for the future. And so don't compromise. Don't believe the lie that, that Mr. Right or Mrs. Right is not there. They're there, but maybe you're being tested, and maybe he or she's that next step. So a lot of times us standing up and saying no and saying, I'm not going to compromise or I'm not going to overlook. And if it's going to be this way. We're going to do it right. And you'll find Mr. and Mrs. Right.
I think a lot of times that's awesome. A lot of times we want step B or step 2 before we take step 1. And it's like we can't see around the corner before we actually take that first step, because it's like, well, I don't want to let go of something that I really like, but I know it's not for me, when God has something better for you. We just have to let go and surrender first. And that's just with life in general. We have to surrender what we think is best and what we really, quote unquote, want. And God will give us what we want and what we really need as well. But it doesn't happen with, the exchange doesn't happen if God gives us what we want and then we let go of what we shouldn't have. You know what I mean? It's got to be a faith, act of faith and a step. So I think that's really good. Just some closing remarks. Ryan, if you could grab that gift for us, please, that'd be great. Any practical tips on just dating? Like if you, some takeaways, like, hey, if you're going to start dating, you're going to step out, what are some practical things that you should do to prepare yourself for that? Maybe you're in a place where you don't know if you should or shouldn't.
Start with paying her.
Start with what?
Start with paying her anywhere you're taking her.
Paying for her, yes.
Paying for it.
Yes.
Just
Old
start
school.
there,
I like it.
please. Just start there.
I like it.
Minimum do that.
Minimum. Is there a place you want to be, like, personally as well, emotionally, spiritually, before you step out and start dating?
It's funny, Neil. I was talking to somebody, and they were telling me how they're in their young 20s, and they were telling me that they want to wait until they're in their 30s to think about getting married, because they believe that, like, they want to feel more successful for themselves before they start that commitment. And this person has made, like, a lot of wise decisions when it comes to their friendships, relationships. And so that's how, like, the conversation even started. I was just, like, really proud of this person. And then, but, like, that's their mindset. And I don't think that that's a wrong mindset by any means. But I think that, like, do you ever really attain? Sometimes we say things like that, but it's like, do we ever really attain? It's like kind of the question of, like, waiting for everything to be perfect before, like, and it's never going to be perfect type thing.
Yeah.
And so I think maybe because I know this person really well, I would say that it's almost like a really great answer because it's very polished, but maybe underneath it, there's actually maybe more to the story. Yeah. Like maybe they're waiting because they actually have maybe an insecurity or a fear for themselves that they want to get taken care of, which is great. Like, that's amazing. So I'd say before, you get started, you have to kind of really figure out, like, what's important. Like, you ask so many great questions. Like, those are questions to ask before you kind of start. I hate, like, even dating. Like, it's like an interview. Like, what is dating right now? I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's like you I never did that. Like, sitting across the table. It's like an interview, like a business transaction, like asking questions, and then let's see if you're right for this job type thing. Right. And then I never did that because, I don't really approach my relationships like that. Yeah. I was really I didn't date a lot before Mark, but anybody who I did date, it was just because, like, I was where I was at, serving, kind of like what some of the people said, like being in the right place, and then somebody's just kind of like came along. Yeah. But just because you meet somebody in the right place doesn't mean they're the right person.
It's true.
And I think a lot of people get stuck on that in church. We meet somebody in church and then we just think like they check off some of the boxes, and we start overlooking some things. So like one person in particular, I tell this story in youth a lot and they like love it. One person like great guy, like loved God, served God with all of his heart, was going into ministry. This isn't Mark, this is before Mark. And, so like on paper, like looked right. And I was really like, oh, this is like what I've been thinking and praying, and it's kind of the direction I feel like I'm moving in my life. So it kind of just all worked, got along great with all of my friends, like all of this. And I remember one day we were spending time together, and we were together, and this person said to me, Nikki, what is important to you, like moving forward, like in the person that, you're going to spend the rest of your life with, like you're, feeling those types of things out, like what are your values, whatever. And like Ellie said, he didn't really listen to anything I said. He just really wanted to say what he wanted to say. And what he wanted to say to me was, I just feel like the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with should be somebody you look at and go, wow, this is a really special person. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, you know, and I was like, yeah. And he's like, and I just don't see anything special in you. Wow. And, yeah, I know that's why everybody loves it in youth so much. They want to fight whoever this person was for me. They're so sweet. But you know, I think of that, and I think that that's something that, like, maybe if I wasn't in a certain place, I may have overlooked that comment. Yeah. Because everything kind of checked out on paper, and like the way I loved what Joe said earlier about how we treat people, all people, not just the opposite sex, or you know, I loved what he said because it's so true, and this person, anybody who we encountered treated people great, you know. How he treated his family was great, which is also what you should be paying attention to. Because however they treat their family is how they're going to treat you. Not just their mom or not just their, like, all of it, okay? Yeah. Like, and you marry their family. So you're not just marrying the person, you marry the family. So there's a lot to kind of, like, look into with all of that. But I think that's something I could have easily have overlooked. Yeah. Because maybe I was in that place. All my friends were married, you know, sick of being the bridesmaid type thing. You know, I really felt like I was ready. And so I could have overlooked that, I feel like, especially maybe because I was working through some things in my own life. But I'm thankful that God gave me the grace in that moment to not overlook it and to let that be a pivotal point in my life. And I don't care how great you are or how great of a man of God you are or how great of a message you can preach. I will not be talked to that I'm not this or I'm not that, or to be talked down to in any way. And so it was a really pivotal point for me. And so, like, but I think those are the types of things, like when you're dating, like if I didn't already know before I got to that moment, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. If I didn't already know some of my non-negotiables and some of the things that I valued and some of the things that when I do move forward, I'm going to build on these things, I probably would have overlooked that. Yeah.
We overlook a lot sometimes.
You
because
do.
We want what we want.
Yes.
And a lot of other people see it and they're like, girl, don't do that.
Right.
Like don't, I'm telling you, because if you have to live with that for the rest of your life, it's going to be a whole another story.
Absolutely. And that's where people get all the time, don't you think? And I couldn't imagine that, you know, Mark said earlier that he's, you know, my love language is words. We talked about that. He talks about giving words all the time. So, and he's an extreme introvert. Like, I don't know if I've met anybody who's more of an introvert. So, like, when he's home, like, he doesn't want to talk, you know? And so it's interesting because I find like a lot of people marry somebody that has a different love language than them.
The Lord tends to do that sometimes.
Right. And so you have to, like, figure that out. Yeah. And so anyways, like, I'm thankful that, you know, his words may be few, but they're never derogatory or speaking down, or I couldn't imagine living a life. And that's something that when you're dating, you got to pay attention to those things. Because if anybody makes you feel belittled in any of the littlest situations and doesn't acknowledge it or correct it or ask for forgiveness for it, like, you cannot, you know, it should be a deal breaker. So I think when you go on to date somebody, you should really kind of know, like, where you stand on some things before you get to that coffee or, you know, and you continue to invest your time. You kind of have to know some of those things.
I think it's good. You know, Mark's words are few, but they're very intentional. Yeah. That's what he says, he means, and he's very thoughtful. So, man, there's so many things we could talk about. We would love to, you know, deep dive into a lot more things. We didn't really even touch the surface on so many things because relationships and dating and love are, they're so deep. But hopefully we, you know, added value to your life today. I think we did. And hopefully that we want to encourage you to take the next step. And there's a couple of different next steps that Ryan's going to explain. But wherever you are in love, wherever you are in dating and your relationship, we want to encourage you that there's hope. You can have an awesome marriage. You can have an awesome relationship and not be talked down to and not be just feeling like you're less than. There's so many times that we look to certain people and celebrities and the gram or whatever for our ideal of relationship goals, but we should look to the Word. We should look to couples that are serving God and see, hey, how can I glean from somebody? How can I talk to this maybe couple that's been married for 10, 20, 30, 40 years and see what they do, see what they didn't do, and we just want to encourage you in that. So hopefully we can have a part 2 to this and and grow and build some more. But we want to thank you for joining us at Inspiring Adults. It's a love for me. And before we go, we wanted to bless you with some things before we take off here. This is, do you have the names on there specifically? Okay, cool. Awesome. So, can you guys open those now? We normally wouldn't do that, but we wanted to get you guys some slippers. So we got some Jordans, some ones, some breads, we got some fours, we got some. Yes. So hopefully those are super comfy, and he's putting them on right now. What do you think?
I love that.
So they're all sneakerheads here. They all have the flyest shoes. So we want to make sure that we hooked you guys up with something for home. Absolutely, you're welcome. Awesome. We love you guys, and we'll talk to you very soon. Ryan, take it away.
Now, don't go anywhere just yet. The service isn't over quite yet. So this next moment is a very special moment. It's just between you and God. It's not between you and anybody else. It's between you and God. No one else matters right now. Nothing else matters right now. But we want to offer you the opportunity to invite Jesus to come into your life and to be your personal Lord and Savior for the rest of your life. Now, maybe you're sitting there and you heard something throughout this service that really resonated with you, and you're thinking, like, that's me. Like, I want to be about that life. I want to live that life. I want to live like Jesus lived. If that's you, all you have to do is repeat this prayer after me. Say, "Dear Jesus, I'm a sinner in need of a Savior. And right now, I ask you to come into my life and to spend the rest of my life with me, to walk with me for the rest of my life. In Jesus' name, amen." Well, congratulations. That was the most important prayer that you could ever pray, the most important decision that you could ever make. Now, don't forget to text NEXT to the number on the screen to find out your next steps. Can't wait to see you next time, but until then, remember that God is